So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar this morning. So this is about the Doctoral Training Centre for Integrated Dementia Care, so the I-Care DTC that's funded by the Alzheimer Society. So just to start off then, we'll go around and just do a very quick round of introductions from members of the team that are on the call today. There's a few of us on here, and then I'm going to go through some slides about what the Doctoral Training Centre looks like and what we're aiming to do with that, and the opportunities available. And then we're going to spend hopefully most of the time just going through any questions that potential applicants have, and giving you a bit of free space to be able to do that, to be honest, rather than listening to me or anyone else kind of go on really. So I'm Nathan Davis, so I'm one of the co-directors of the DTC, and I'm a professor based at Queen Mary University. And if I go on to Danielle next.
Hello, I'm Danielle and I'm the Programme Manager for the DTC. So any questions or anything, I'm happy to help.
Hello, I am the other co-director of the programme, also based at Queen Mary. I'm a Professor of Psychological Medicine with an interest in dementia.
Hi, I'm Claire Sir. I'm Professor of Dementia Studies at Leeds Beckett University, and I'm the lead for the Leeds Beckett collaborating organisation.
Hi, yeah, I'm one of the supervisors on the one of the PhDs, and I'm also supporting with any equality, inclusion and diversity needs there might be.
My name's Jane Ward, and I'm an ex-carer after my mother who had dementia, had vascular dementia, and I've been involved in PPI for about 15 years, and I'm the one of the PPI leads on this. So, thank you.
Okay, so I'll just go through some slides then, just to give you a bit of a flavour of what we're doing within the DTC. So if I just share my screen. So as I said, this is the Alzheimer Society Doctoral Training Centre for Integrated Dementia Care. So this is our email address. So if you haven't seen it already and you've got any queries that you think of after today, or you don't quite understand, then please do let us know and drop us an email, and one of us will get back to you with that. So you might have seen that the Alzheimer Society have funded 3 doctoral training centres. So they funded just over 9 million between the 3 of us. This is a huge investment and really exciting time, I think, for the Alzheimer Society. So the doctoral training centres will each have a cohort of students for the next 5 years. So the length of the doctoral training centres will be for about the next 8 years. And this is across 14 institutions, and it's going to train roughly 85 new dementia researchers. So this is not just an opportunity to be part of our individual DTC, but to be part of a huge community of the next dementia research leaders. And as you can see on the right-hand side here, it's across the nation as well. So here are we then. So obviously you've just seen that quite a few of us on the screen. So I've just put the main collaborators or the main leads from the different institutions at the moment on here, but there's a huge number of us taking on lots of different roles within the DTC. So we've got a partnership of 5 different universities. So at Queen Mary, we've got London School of Economics, which is Martin Knapp. We've obviously got Claire from Leeds Beckett, and our colleagues from UCL, University of Plymouth, and then obviously we've also got Jane, who is our PPI lead as well. So we're really excited that this is a national collaboration working together with a lot of cross-disciplinary and cross-supervisory expertise within this. So what we really want to do is to create the evidence and generate the next generation of research leaders to deliver integrated care that improves the lives of people living with dementia and their family and those around them. Now we've got 4 kind of overarching main themes across our DTC. The first one is thinking about how we support independence, how we support people to remain autonomous, and provide people with choice in their care throughout the dementia trajectory. We've then got a focus on underserved groups, as Megan talked about. She's, leading with some of the EDI work, and this is a really big focus for us. Is about how we support underserved groups, and this is not just about ethnicity, but it's also about people who might live alone with dementia, who live in geographically difficult areas that are hard to reach, people from low socioeconomic deprivation, etc., etc. Then we've got a huge focus on complexity and risk. So this covers a lot of different topics, and I think some of the PhD projects that have been put forward by Leeds Beckett speak to this quite well. They're talking about multimorbidity, for example, and people who have multiple conditions when they're living with dementia, and how we support and manage that. And then we've got a focus on end-of-life care as well. So our focus runs throughout the entire trajectory, from diagnosis, pre-diagnosis, post-diagnostic support, right through to end-of-life care as well. And then cutting across these cross-cutting themes that we would expect in all of our PhD projects is around inequalities, co-production and lived experience, which you can see we really value as part of our team. Jane is here today. We've also got several other PPI members that we will be working with very, very closely throughout our programme, and then ensuring that everything is around person-centred care as well. We're going to construct a DTC Academy, which is going to be there to support our PhD students, but also our supervisors as well. So we're developing the next generation of dementia researchers as PhD students, but also as supervisors as well. So we are going to have an extended induction from day one as a cohort, where we will be providing a full induction to the DTC Academy and across the 5 institutions as well. We plan yearly residential retreats, so the cohorts would all come together. So obviously in the first year, it's going to be a bit smaller, and it's likely to be 5 or 6 students in the first year, but in subsequent years, there'll be more joining and coming on board, and everyone would get together on an annual basis for a residential retreat. And this will be across the country, ensuring that we capture all the different areas that we cover within our DTC. We will have monthly seminars and peer connection set up as well, so that you speak to each other as a cohort and work together as a cohort, and we expect that would be student led, so it really puts you as a student at the heart of the DTC Academy. We will have supervision across the institution, so it won't just be if you come to Queen Mary or if you go to UCL, you would just be supervised by people from that institution, but instead it will be across all of the DTC or a couple of the DTC universities. And then finally, we will be embedding skills training as well. So our skills training is not just going to be focused on research methods, which obviously traditionally PhD has been focused on training on the research methods, but in recent times, we have all seen a big increase in ensuring that our students are robust, well-rounded individuals that can go out into the workplace beyond their PhD. So thinking about policy, how do we influence policy? How do we inform policy? How do we speak to the media? How do we get our findings into practice? We don't want this to be just some nice research that's done in our ivory tower. We want to be working on the ground, getting our work into the field. So our projects for 2025 cohort then, so this is across the 5 universities. There's 1 studentship that would be available in each of the universities. There are currently 15 projects that we have proposed. So that doesn't mean there's 15 projects or 15 studentships that are available. It is just that we have given a variety of different choices. So each university has put 3 projects, and 1 student will be able to do one of those projects basically. But what we really are keen is that you make it your own. And this is something that we would be asking you at the interview as well, is how would you make the project your own? So we would like you to pick which project you're most interested in, and then a second and a third choice. And we would ask you how you would make your top project your own and what you would do with that. So this is a little bit about you. Excuse me. And I won't go into too much detail. These are the criteria that are available in the adverts. So we're looking for people that have got a 2-1 or above. You've got a relevant master's degree. We would expect you to have some research experience. So you've written a paper yourself. You've done a dissertation. You're able to work under pressure. You've worked independently and collaboratively. So these are some of the things we would be looking for you to explain to us in the application. So for applying, you would complete an application form, which you can download from this website. We will share these slides at the end of today, but this is available on the website as well. This will include some EDI information that we're trying to capture to ensure that we have a very diverse doctoral training centre. Referees, your ranked preference of PhD projects, and then we want a personal statement. So in this personal statement, importantly, what we want to know is, why do you want to do a PhD and why these projects in particular? what your previous experience is, both in research or academia, but also other things. You might have done quite a lot of work in care, for example. What training you've had and how you meet the skills and knowledge attributes that we've listed in the advert as well. In addition to the application and the personal statement, we would like a 2-page CV and proof of English language if English is not your first language. And obviously the deadline is 22nd of January, so you've got a bit of time. So what I would really encourage you to do is, if you are interested in applying, find those projects that you're really interested in, and the top project you're interested in, we would really encourage you to reach out to the lead supervisor named on that project, so that you are able to have a conversation with that person and understand what the project is about. We're going to hold the interviews in person at Queen Mary. We would really prefer to do them in person because it's much easier, and candidates often tell us they feel better doing that. And we will reimburse reasonable travel costs with receipts. If it is a problem and you're really not able to come in person, we do understand that this is a national DTC and people are coming from all across the country. So please do let us know, and we will make arrangements to support you in any way we can. And whether that might be that it is an online interview for you, we will do that. So we want to really be as inclusive as possible with that. So some top tips then about applying. Like I said, really communicate with the supervisors that you want to work with. So email them with a bit of an introduction to yourself and why you're interested, and try and arrange a meeting with them. We're all more than happy to meet with people that are interested in our projects. This is one of the things we really like about our jobs. We really like to meet with potential students who want to work with us. Write a nice, clear and convincing personal statement. So share your passion and why you're passionate about us. Tell us your experience in research or working with people with dementia, and explain why are you motivated to do a PhD and why these projects. Show us your previous experience and think about what your long-term goals are, what you see yourself doing after the PhD and how this aligns with doing a PhD. Create a nice, well-organized CV. So emphasize your academic achievements, show us your relevant publications, your relevant research and any presentations you've been doing. Think about your technical and transferable skills, such as coding or communication skills. Think through your research, so think through what you would do in the project. You don't need to necessarily put all that into the application, but think about what is it that you would do to make it your own. And like I said, we will be thinking about this at the interview stage. And tailor your application. So we quite often see applications that are very generic and could have been sent anywhere to any job for any studentship. We want to know why you want to do it with us in this DTC and with these projects. And pay attention to the guidelines as well. And if there's anything that's not clear, then please do reach out to us and we're happy to let you know. So finally then, just some key information. The start date for these is in October. We will only cover home fees. So the Alzheimer Society have been very clear with us. The home fees is what we will pay for. We will not exclude international students from applying. However, if you are an international student, you will need to cover the cost of the additional fees, which is quite substantial. So we would encourage you, if you are applying and you're international, to reach out to us, because we would want to understand how you're going to be covering these costs and evidence of that. There's a tax-free stipend available as well. As you can see, there's multiple locations and each of the projects has a different location. So have a look at where these projects are. Applications close in January, as we've said, on the 22nd, and then the interviews are on the 14th of February. I'm going to leave it there. We're happy to take any questions, but before that, I'm just going to ask my colleagues if there's anything I've missed.
I don't think so, Nathan. I don't think so, but I'm sure hopefully people have got some questions for us.
Yeah, hello, I've got a question.
Okay, yep.
Hi, I'm Danine. I'm just curious if one is working and is looking at doing a PhD, how do you recommend doing the two at the same time? If you were working full-time or part-time or not at all, is there a best case scenario?
I did my PhD. Well, I did my PhD alongside work, so I have great sympathy. It is tricky, isn't it? To some extent, though, I'm guessing, Deneen, that often one doesn't sit there thinking, now, which would I prefer? It's often a case of necessity, isn't it? So it's probably more helpful to think, you know, all of the different ways work for people. And I think, do we offer these? We offer these part-time, don't we, Nathan? I think if you do need to study part-time and work part-time, I suppose over the years as supervisors, I'm sure we've all supervised people in that situation. And there are challenges and opportunities, because obviously sometimes if you're working in a related field, it can be really helpful because your work can inform your studies. You know, often it's nice to have sort of two different things going on, but I think there are challenges when you have the type of job, particularly a health service one, where things can creep in. But all of our universities will have a strong cohort of peer support, and there will be people that have done it, and there will be people that will tell you what's working for them, and perhaps like me, the things that they would tell you not to do that they did. But it's all right, I got there in the end, but it is tricky.
Thank you, thanks for your answer.
And it might just be worth saying that it's kind of, you know, full-time PhD, think of it like a full-time job. You know, you need to be working at least 37 hours a week. And if you're studying part-time, the university will expect you to be spending at least 2.5 days a week on the PhD. So it's balancing those. It is like basically having a job, full-time or part-time. So it's how you balance those hours up, really.
Okay, thank you. And if it was if you were pursuing a PhD part-time, is there a period of time in which that should be completed?
It would depend on the percentage of the part-time nature, so how much you're actually doing, and I think it will also vary by university as well. So it's an individual case by case, to be honest.
Okay, thank you.
Nishat, I think you're first, or Nitha, sorry.
Hi, it's me. I just wanted to ask, I'm an international student here, just completed my master's. So if I opt for this PhD, how much would be the extra cost that I'll have to pay, and the visa requirements and all that? I'll be getting my graduate visa soon, by January. So it'll be just 2 years, and the PhD will be it's 4 years, I guess, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so they're over 4 years. So again, it will vary by university as to what the international fees are. They are significantly higher than home fees, and we will only pay for the home fee element of the fees. So you would need to look at the websites of the individual universities to check the fee for those.
Okay, so the visa will be sponsored by the university, right? If I'm ready to pay the rest of the fee, and will the university sponsor the visa for me for the PhD?
Not that I'm aware of, but we would have to double check that. But I don't think I don't think the university would cover the fee of the visa.
No, not the fee, just the visa. Because I need a sponsor, right? I need a sponsorship to remain in the UK.
Yes, so the university would sponsor that. Yes, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted. Thank you so much.
That's okay.
Yes. Good afternoon. I'm in Ghana now, and I want to know if I should be taken on for the program. How easy is it for me to gain an opportunity to work alongside to be able to cater for the rest of my my fee?
I'm not sure I picked it up.
I think I've got the, I'm not sure I know the answer, Nathan, but I did hear the question. So let me have a go. So Elsie, I understand what you're saying is that if you were successful and you came to the UK, would it be possible for you to work and study part-time and use your part-time work in order to fund yourself to pay the gap in fees between the domestic and the international? Have I got the question right?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, Megan, whether you want to, whether this broadly fills into EDI. I mean, I would say it sounds incredibly hard to me. That's my first thought, but.
I mean, we can certainly, if you were successful, we could certainly look at those options and how we can support you. But there wouldn't be, we couldn't guarantee, of course, that you would be able to find work. So I think you would need to make sure you would be able to support yourself without that in the first instance. Would be my feeling, because we wouldn't want to put you in a situation where you couldn't afford to pay those fees.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be very hard, just because I think when you're on, and I'm scampering into ground that I'm not an expert on, but most of my PhD students who are international who work can only work 20 hours. Does that sound familiar? Yes, I'm getting nods. So you would have to have an incredibly high salary, wouldn't you, to work 20 hours and not only make up the gap in fees, but also be able to live and pay rent. So I think it depends how high a paid job you were able to get. Obviously, we don't know your sort of skill base or what you'd be looking at, but I think that, you know, it would be tricky.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Louisa.
Hi. Yeah, I think I was just thinking about, so my academic experience isn't that recent, and it was a few years ago since I did a master's, but I've got more experience working with people with dementia and carers. Do you think it's advisable to get more academic experience that's more recent before applying?
Not necessarily, no. So we welcome a mix of experience and background, and actually I think that's a real strength that you have that experience within care and working with people with dementia, and we really value that, and that's what we'd also be looking to see in your application, is you demonstrating that. So not at all. So talk about your experience on both sides of things. I mean, you can't do everything all at once, can you? So you can't do your research and your care work necessarily.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely fine, not a problem.
Okay, brilliant, thank you.
You're welcome. I can see there's a couple of questions in the chat as well. So
Yes.
I think someone's asking about, you wanted to do a decline size, so would this PhD serve your goals? Well, it depends what your goals are, really, but this is not a decline size. So it depends what your goals are. This is not going to qualify you for any clinical practice, so it won't help you in that sense. This is a research program.
Yeah, I have had PhD students who've gone on to decline sci, as well as decline sci who've gone on to research. And I know that increasingly people are applying for decline sci with a PhD under their belt. I don't know what other supervisors would think, but I think in order to get through a PhD, you have to be hugely passionate about your research and really, really want to do one. But often people that really do passionately want to do research and then really passionately want to do decline sci, and there's absolutely no reason that you couldn't do that. There's also a query about whether or not, if you can make your own project, does it have to be a UK focus or can it look at other countries, or cross-country comparisons? Well, the Alzheimer's Society, their sort of mission is to improve dementia care primarily in the UK. So I think that there would be a UK focus. That's not to say that obviously the UK can't learn from other countries. I think in general, we've laid out some very basic areas in which you can create and co-create with your supervisor and your lived experience panels a PhD that meets your needs, but they're sort of most of them are situated in broad areas, aren't they?
Yeah. So you're not going to be able to come in and do a completely different topic to what the DTC has planned in terms of its overarching themes and mission and aim. but you can work within the project remits that you are applying for, and we would very much encourage you to do that and to work with your supervisors, and like Claudia says, our PPI members like Jane, who will help you to expand and develop the project going forward. And then did you say something else? Loved ones field. That's still suitable, Aaron. So, you know, not everyone has direct experience of working professionally with people with dementia and care work, and that, but a lot of people have personal experience, and that's what for a lot of people, a lot of us, drives our passion for dementia research. So again, that's what we really want to see in the application, is you explaining, you know, what your passion is and why you're passionate at that. If you feel comfortable sharing any of those personal details, then absolutely. Apologies, I keep coughing. Deneen.
Yeah, hello. Another question. Is there any teaching requirements for PhD students whilst they're involved with this programme?
Broadly speaking, no. I don't know if there would be any individual university requirements, but I wouldn't expect so. And that's something that we would describe as saying no at Leeds. It wouldn't be at QMUL, it's not at UCL. So I don't think you would be. We do encourage our students to do other things and to develop their CV. So it might be that you do some teaching, but it's not a requirement. It's certainly not a requirement to get the PhD. But it is quite helpful if you want to go into the academic route to do some teaching, and actually people get a lot from delivering teaching, and they learn quite a lot from that. So it's quite nice to do, to be honest, but it's not a requirement at all.
It is an opportunity though, and actually you do get paid, certainly at UCL and Queen Mary. I don't know about the other universities, but it's probably across the board. Okay, well, you know, depends, but it swings and roundabouts, but you can get paid. And we generally have more PhD students asking to teach than there necessarily are opportunities. So it's not something that will be thrust upon you, but it might be something that you feel that you want to do.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, and Kendra, I can see you've put something in. Very interesting research. Read the information. You're a pharmacist. Could I research in this area, meaning economic evaluation using the topic of dementia? Well, yes, you know, health economics is a key part of this, especially when it comes to integrated care and changing and shaping services. So actually, that's a very key aspect of it. So I would encourage you to have a look at some of the projects with the London School of Economics, because that's what their focus has been on with their projects. Is around health, or not health economics. Martin, that would tell me off for saying that. It's economics within care research. So I would encourage you to have a look at those. Any other questions? Or Jane, I don't know if you've got anything. Sorry to put you on the spot as our PPI lead and guru. Have you got anything you wanted to add or to let candidates know?
Well, I suppose just that I'd be really keen to work with the candidates as much as possible. So Nathan and I've worked on a project called Embed Care. That's King's College and UCL for the last, it's about 7 years, I think, isn't it? And we've been really involved in working with the PhD students to the point where they actually would come along and present to us, you know, what they were doing, ask us questions. What did we think about certain things they were doing? And then we give them sort of our views back. And I think the relationship we built up during that project has been really powerful. And as someone who's really invested in you know, the patient participation sort of area, it's great to know that we've got these 5 brilliant now doctors going off with a really good understanding of how PPI can help them with research. And it's been such a wonderful experience for the team, so the PPI team, to actually watch these guys sort of grow in their research. And yeah, looking forward to doing it with you guys. Whoever applies, please do. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. And Nisha.
Oh, thank you. I also wanted to know if there's a requirement to submit the IELTS test, or English language proficiency test. As I've already been in UK, I'm already in UK, so do I need to submit it again?
Yes,
get the test, or
you would need to submit your results from that. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or areas that would be helpful for us to explain a bit more about? Some of the other opportunities that we would have. So we've got quite a lot of community and third sector organisation partners that are also very keen to support students in multiple ways. So some are happy for placements. So for example, policy placements within the policy teams and helping understand how you can shape and change policy and how you can inform that and structures. So there's those kind of opportunities. And I guess the other thing to say is that these are 4-year studentships, which is quite unusual. And I think the Alzheimer Society have been really great with offering funding for 4 years for the studentships in order to complete that period of time. Claire, Claudia, Megan, Danielle, I don't know if you've got any nuggets to share about.
No, I think the main thing is that the supervisors are waiting for your call, that they will be pleased. How to apply, I think that's all on. Danielle can send the link out again. But see it as get in touch with the supervisor, because if you develop a relationship with the supervisor where you can say, I'm thinking of doing this, well, do you think this would work? And then you can come to interview and you can show that you've actually developed your ideas around the project, then I think that will be very attractive to a panel, because we want to appoint people who are going to do well and fulfill what they want, who are going to improve lives for people with dementia, and somebody that's already thinking creatively about what they want to do and how they want to use the wonderful opportunities of PPI and policy links to really make a difference to people with dementia. I think they're the people that are going to do well. So do reach out. Don't think that you're going to be sort of abandoned in a mailbox. We're all waiting for your call.
Louisa.
I was just thinking as you were talking, is there any reading that you recommend, like recent reports or recent studies that have been done at the centres that are hosting the PhD studentships that you think would be really useful for us to read?
Louisa, supposing you wanted to do a PhD in Leeds Beckett, you thought it sounded absolutely fantastic, and it was on sport and dementia. I don't know. I just tried to. I can't. Oh no. There's one on cancer, isn't there? Sorry, I don't have to be general. Okay. So wouldn't it be impressive if you'd spoken to the first supervisor, you'd read around the topic, the key in that topic area, so you knew a bit about it, that you knew a little bit about Leeds Beckett, that you knew a bit about maybe something that they brought out, and also that you knew a bit about what the Alzheimer Society's priorities were. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Is come with a feeling of, I know why I want to do this. Sorry, I wasn't adding a PhD to your portfolio there. Although maybe it would be a good one.
We have got some sport ones potentially coming up in the future.
That's where I got that
that's
from.
where you got that from.
Okay.
Thank you.
Deneen.
Just another question. Might be a silly question.
No silly questions, don't worry.
Okay, if you don't live near one of the universities that's offering the PhD, how does that work in terms of, actually kind of carrying out research, working with your colleagues? Like, I don't live anywhere near Plymouth, for instance, and I wouldn't relocate to Plymouth because my life is in London. So, is that a barrier or not necessarily?
So it is and it isn't, I think, is the unclear answer that I can give honestly. I think it's really important when you're doing a PhD to work very closely with colleagues and to see your colleagues in person as much as possible, and work with other students in the department in particular. So we would definitely be expecting whatever university working with to be going in on a regular basis. That doesn't mean you're there every day. There's opportunities that we've all agreed that regardless as to what university you're registered with, you would be able to also work with another university in the DTC that might be a bit more local to you, but that's not going to be that you can go in there every day either, really. So there are opportunities, and we appreciate that this is a national DTC, so we're going to try and do as much as possible to bring people together, so like the residential retreats and the seminars and things, but there is going to have to be some element of you going in. So I think you would have to consider that very carefully when making your application and your choice of project and university.
That's great, thank you.
Elsie.
This is concerning contacting the team leads. I have done, I have written one and then submitted to a team lead, but I haven't heard anything. I want to know what I should do. If I should go on to write to the other two, or I'm going to get a response to that.
It's hard to know, Elsie, without shaming the person that maybe hasn't replied to their email in the webinar, which I suppose we could do, but why don't we not? Yes. So why don't you, if you've left it a week, why don't you email again, and maybe you might like to, you could copy in Danielle perhaps as our manager, and just say that you were hoping. Are you going for the person that's named as the first supervisor on the project?
Please come again.
So if you've emailed the person who's the first supervisor on the project, we'd expect that you would get a reply within a week. So I suggest, as I said, that you email again and copy in Danielle, and then she can take it forward if you don't get a reply.
Any other or further questions or clarities? We will put this recording up online. So, Megan.
I was only just going to briefly add that as the EDI lead, I am happy to chat with anyone who wants a bit of informal space to think about how these PhDs, studentships might work with their lives. And when we talk about EDI, we think quite broadly. So anyone with, learning differences or from non-traditional academic backgrounds or coming back into academia, happy to chat with anyone about that as well. You could probably maybe either email the I-Care, the email address, and they could put you in contact with me, or perhaps Nathan, we can share my email address. But yeah, happy to have a chat with anyone. And obviously your primary supervisors would support you with that as well, but just another person to talk to about that.
Thanks, Megan. So like I said, we'll put the recording for this up online. And we'll put the slides up as well, so you've got that information. And please do reach out to the general I-Care email address that is checked daily, and we will get back to you as quickly as possible. Do contact the primary supervisors. That's absolutely key to have those conversations. And any further questions, just let us know. But if there's nothing else, we may wrap up. Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming. Lovely to see you. Thank you for all your interest, and we look forward to seeing all your applications come through. Have a good day.
Thanks, Nathan. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Nathan.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.